Hey, welcome back to Two Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan,
I'm ready.
and we're going to look at a couple things. We're going to look at why in the heck TLT is not shooting up when there's rate cuts because there's supposed to be an inverse relationship. And then in addition, we're going to look at why and a couple other interesting things regarding TLT and upcoming stuff. So, boom, here's TLT. Okay,
Mm.
now this is the weekly chart. Um, now I'll zoom in on this little spot here. There you go. You can see a nice little hammer, tons of volume,
Uh-huh.
yippee yippee yay. But why are we still here? A little bit weird, right? So
Yeah.
after Trump won the election, I'm going to try to keep this as apolitical as possible.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, there is one part of this that is directly related to Trump winning, so it's that part's kind of impossible. I'm sorry, but I don't. There's no way around it.
I
Um,
mean, the
so
market responded pretty vigorously to it, so like
yes,
it is a completely a stock market related topic.
yeah, I can't. I don't know how to avoid it. This is where he won, right? So he won. This went straight down, and honestly, it recovered immediately. But we're going to talk
Hmm.
about why Trump winning is bad for. Well, theoretically, I actually disagree with this. Bad for TLT. First, there was a rate cut, right? It was very, very expected. As you can see here, there's a 99% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut. This was very expected. They literally said in the last, after the 50-point basis one, that there's going to be two more, probably 25. So, this is very expected, not weird. This is weird. All right. Now, there is more data on and more news articles going on the mortgage rates other than the 10-year yield and the 20-year yield. You
Uh-huh.
know why, Benny?
So I know 10-year yield is typically the one that is used as like a benchmark for setting mortgage rates. I know that.
Yes.
So
And no
okay.
one cares about 10-year yields. They only care about mortgage rates. So I'm going to talk about mortgage rates because that affects more Americans. So there's more articles, there's more information on that. But this is in relation to TLT because this is, I'm in TLT. I have a lot of money in it. I still think it's a great trade. But that's why I'm talking about mortgage rates, not really talking about houses here. So you can see we actually had the rate cut. Sorry, the 50-point basis rate cut in September. What the
Yeah.
heck? What is going on? All right.
Very interesting.
So it actually climbed 70 basis points higher. Mortgage rates were the week following the September rate cut.
Yeah. I'll take things that make you go, huh, for 1,000, Alex.
Yeah. Right. Now this chart's slightly old because this only shows the one rate cut, but there's another little step down right
Hmm.
there. But you can see, I mean, it was almost because it was anticipatory. So here's the impact of rate cuts short term and long term. When you have a rate cut, the short term, the loans that are typically affected are the ones that come due in less than a year. So those are your short term rates, your CDs, adjustable mortgages, which get adjustments every 6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
After that, longer term rates that use debt instruments last from 1 year up to 30 years, like mortgages, TLT, because these
Hmm.
rates stay constant for longer, they don't react to changes in the federal funds rate. So there's quite a large lag time. I'm a little bit surprised that there wasn't some reaction, but there is a very, very large lag time. So it it says here mortgages and yields are more influenced by economic conditions and investor behavior. Now we're going to look
Okay.
at this investor behavior, i.e., Trump winning. So TLT, in my humble opinion, was probably already priced in. So, with the probability of the initial September cut, plus one or two more before year's end, mortgage lenders started to already price the Fed's move before it actually happened in their offerings. So, after the rate cut, the same economic indicators started pointing towards a more resilient economy than anticipated. I've talked about this. When you hit the SOM rule and you hit a certain unemployment rate, every single time in the past it's triggered, you usually have a
Yeah.
little bit of an economic downturn. It's looking like that is not going to happen. So basically, right
Hmm.
here is the result is higher mortgages because it appears the economy is stronger than we're thinking. Okay,
Okay. I mean, we did get some
now
disappointing jobs data, but that was related to Boeing and some other kind of more specific time period
hurricanes.
stories.
Yeah, hurricanes affect the jobs data too. We're gonna
Hmm.
have a little bit of an increase, and I do have that jobs chart. We're gonna have a little bit of a update on the 19th for jobs. So, in my opinion, this was priced in, and then there's this whole story going around, which I greatly disagree with, the fear of the Trump impact on the government deficit. Though, so there's economists saying, which by the way, they're all citing one study, which I'm going to show you. They're all
Okay.
saying that Trump is going to increase the deficit horribly, and that when you look at Trump's deficit versus Biden's deficit, once again, I'm trying to be as apolitical as possible,
Yeah.
but this is directly related to what we're talking about. People are saying that Trump, even though the numbers don't show it, actually added over time 10 billion more or 10 trillion more to the deficit than Biden.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. I've seen
I,
some analysis along those lines too. It's definitely, particularly given like how much uncertainty there is around like his economic plan. I mean, what was the word? Or concepts of a plan.
eh,
It's hard to really be able to predict what the market's going to do in
yeah,
reaction. And when the market's unsure of things, they get fearful and they price at fear levels, and that's what you've seen them do.
yeah. Hey man, I'll take concepts of a plan over no plan. Um, so the various policy uncertainties may have led the Fed to move more slowly, and you have this chief economist from J.P. Morgan who's saying, "Yeah, we might have one more rate cut per quarter until reaching 3.5." Bank of America is saying, "Could Trump's aggressive tariff proposals could derail the Fed cutting cycle, and that the Fed will err on the side of caution." Okay, now, oh, one more thing before I get there. This is the article that when you look at all the news stories, they're all citing this. Or most of them that I looked at. All right. It's the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. President elect Donald Trump's second term could add anywhere from, get this, 1.6 trillion to 15.5 trillion. Wow, the range.
Yeah,
Jesus. To the
yeah.
deficit over the next 10 years. Now,
Have
this
you
is
ever
the
heard
second term.
what was it? The term scientific wild ass guess.
Yeah. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
come on. Like, 1.6. First of all,
15.
if any president with how it's been looking, and I'll show you the president's deficit ad, if one president only adds 1.6 trillion to the deficit over 10 years, pretty
Yeah.
solid, because we're at
Yeah.
like 5 trillion a thing right now. So I don't I don't know. I don't get it. But anyways, since the election results were announced, the yields on the 10-year treasury jumped a very, very large amount because investors are expecting Trump's proposed fiscal policies to widen the federal deficit and reverse
Mhm.
progress on inflation. Now, I'm once again, I respect everyone who voted just in general. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not super political. The red arrows are Trump's deficit, okay, and the blue arrows are Biden's. You
Mhm.
draw the conclusion you would like. Um, there you go. So,
Well, yeah, COVID was quite an anomaly within there, the whole pandemic thing. So,
oh,
like,
for
yeah,
sure, but both of
there's
them,
definitely,
I
you know,
excuse both of these. I mean, you had a bunch of spending, absolutely. It's the other three I'm more looking at.
yeah.
But here's the deal. So, this committee for responsible federal budget is comparing Trump's and Biden's national debt, and in it, they're saying, which every article is referencing this, they're essentially saying Biden actually contributed significantly less than Trump, even like these numbers, but they're looking at future problems and like from policies that he enacted. Then this
Mm.
came out a week later. This is not being cited. This is actually a government site too.
Oh,
Essentially,
really?
what this is saying is yes, they looked at all the policies that Trump did and they added up all the possible deficits, but they also didn't include any of the revenue, i.e., it's not going to be an accurate number.
Mhm.
These are both heavy documents, guys. Like these are
Yeah.
both they're very long. So read it if you want. In my opinion, I don't think now if Trump starts tariffing everything, not great. I don't think that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
that's not going to go well. Um,
I know.
you know,
I
well,
reserve my judgment until I see the actual final plan as far as that goes.
yeah,
And, you know, people are definitely talking about how there's estimates out there that the average American household would cost about $1,200 per year and $2,400 per year if it's a 10 or 20% tariff on all imported
Yeah.
goods. That is always in the short term too. Is like, don't forget that the idea behind those tariffs is that you encourage onshoring, which is a much longer process. But eventually, that's the goal of the process. So there's a lot of nuance to this until you finally actually see final detailed plans before you can actually begin to have any sort of semi-intelligent assessment of it, right?
Yeah. And I, for one, don't trust any president of either party to ever stick to what they say. I just doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
So, anyways, here's the unemployment. This is definitely affecting TLT. We were really expecting this to go higher. So, as of right now, TLT is fairly uncertain. I actually bought more, if I'm being completely honest with you. Um, to me, it seems like within 12 months it's going to work, but who knows? I'm just some stupid guy on the internet.
Yeah,
We'll
I
find
love
out.
it. That kind of confidence that you have continuing to buy things, although like they're not really the trade going your way it must have done really well for you in the dating pool. I'll say that.
All right, guys. Let us know what you think. Am I crazy or should we? I guess really the question is TLT or is the market about to have another 20% gain? Because if the market has another 20% gain within 12 months from now, TLT is probably not worth it. So that's really the question. Let us know.
Yeah. Catch you next one.